to Give Smart, the video series where we break down the legal side of giving. I'm Isabella, and in each episode, we talk to experts at companies and nonprofits that navigate the complex but important world of compliance and charitable fundraising. Today's episode is all about charitable sales promotions inside a digital-first business, what it takes to launch quickly, structure things correctly, and build a campaign that supports good causes without creating unnecessary legal risk. I'm joined by Erica Zaragoza, Assistant General Counsel at Publishers Clearinghouse. Erica works at the intersection of legal, product, and business strategy as PCH continues its evolution into a digital advertising supported company. Erica, thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me, Isabella.
I'd love it if you could introduce yourself and tell us a bit about your role at PCH.
Yeah, so hi, I'm Erica Zaragoza, the VP of Legal over at Publishers Clearinghouse. I kind of handle all of our advertising and marketing, and as an in-house counsel, kind of just run the gamut on different legal areas of practice.
Thanks, Erica. I'm wondering if you could tell us a bit more about Publishers Clearinghouse, what you all do. I know you have a long history of sweepstakes, so if you could tell us a bit more about that, and also what is coming up for PCH.
Yeah, so I think most folks probably know us as the sweepstakes company that shows up to winners' homes all across America with big checks unannounced by our prize patrol. So kind of being the premier sweepstakes company, Publishers Clearinghouse has just a history of layering in sweepstakes opportunities and chances to win into kind of all of our offerings. Our value proposition of a chance to win is layered into different things like games and searches, but we are currently in the middle of a huge transformation. We are reintroducing e-commerce, so it's very exciting for us. We will be relaunching our brand new site at the end of the month. And part of that relaunch is really getting back to our core of offering life-changing sweepstakes opportunities to our audience, and also, reintroducing the charitable component. So giving back has always been a part of the PCH story, and it's so part of this partnership is not reintroducing something completely new, but really building on something that resonates with our audience, and that's giving back to good causes.
That's awesome. So I saw on your website, I noticed that 3% of subscription payments goes to nonprofits. I'm wondering if you can tell us a little bit more about like what these subscriptions are for, and how you decided on this kind of campaign structure.
Yeah, so I think the structure of the 3% donation was attractive because it's simple, transparent, and easy for consumers to understand, which is incredibly important from a compliance perspective, which is what legal is always most concerned with. The subscription model is something we recently launched on our shopping site, which is kind of part of the rebrand and relaunch of what Publishers Clearinghouse is going to look like in the future. So it's part of our modernization strategy, and we're very excited to offer this subscription to users. The 3% of subscription fees going towards charity, but the subscription model really is an opportunity for our users to get, access to exclusive content, access to savings opportunities. So we're very excited about the product, and we're excited that we were able to kind of incorporate this charitable component as well.
What did you have to think through to make sure that this kind of campaign structure was correctly set up as a commercial co-venture, which I think is what you all ended up landing on?
Yeah, so I think advertising in general, my main concern always is kind of making sure promotions are clear, right? Avoiding ambiguity. Ambiguity in advertising is not a lawyer's friend, right? If something can be misconstrued, it can be misconstrued against you. So making sure there's no confusion. And as it relates to the commercial co-venture, that looks like how that plays out practically is kind of making sure all of your disclosures are presented in a clear and conspicuous way. So the checklist of kind of what you look for, what I was looking for when we launched this program, is what disclosures are required, how do they appear to the consumer, and then kind of other additional considerations, right? Are there any minimum guarantees that we're making to a particular charity as part of the deal terms with that charity? All of that needs to be disclosed. I mentioned that it's 3% of membership fees that are going towards charitable endeavors. We're also selling a lot of e-commerce products. Those sales do not contribute, right? So it's thinking through are there exclusions? Yeah, so thinking through exclusions, inclusions, and making sure that all of our disclosures are clear and conspicuous.
What do you think are some pieces that people in your position may underestimate when it comes to these requirements, I guess? You focus a lot on these disclosures, so that seems to be a point of interest for you. Are there any other things that you think are often overlooked?
Yeah, I think that goes towards why we decided to partner with Get Change in the first place, right? I think compliance for commercial co-ventures right now, the state by state patchwork of regulations is kind of it's an interesting place to operate right now, right? So if you are not an expert in the area, there's just a lot going on. So things you wouldn't normally think about, like registrations, all of that is really important to kind of, maintain compliance in this space. And so even thinking through, and everything's changing so quickly. And I think that's why this partnership is so important. So it's not just about the disclosures, but it's also the back-end infrastructure that legal needs to really take into consideration, because all of that is supporting the compliance of the overall program. So just making sure that you understand your registration requirements and really buttoning up compliance, not just on the disclosure side, but it's front end to back end, making sure all of the documentation is in place.
When you were looking at change as a solution or as a partner, were you also intrigued, I guess, by the donation processing abilities that we have? Is that also something that as legal you take into consideration?
Oh, absolutely. I think one of the kind of key principles of operating, right, a compliant program is making sure that you are tracking donations accurately, and delivering those funds appropriately, right? So having the back end infrastructure that Change provides sort of made it was a game changer, right? Not having to build out that infrastructure internally allowed us to execute on these campaigns and ultimately provide these donations a lot faster, right? Mm-hmm. So a lot of the operational follow through was sort of key in our decision in entering this partnership with Change, tracking donations, managing distributions, and just ensuring overall accuracy. Again, you need to make sure that when you're engaging in these types of promotions, that what you're telling consumers is actually happening, right? And so this partnership really facilitates those transactions, and provides an auditable reporting structure, to make sure that the subscription fees are going towards a charity.
I'd love to learn more about the nonprofits that PCH is supporting with the 3% membership fee going to charity. Can you tell me a little bit more about the charities and the selection process, or just how these partnerships came about?
Yeah, so right now, Publishers Clearinghouse has decided to partner with an organization called Love 146. Love 146 is an international human rights organization that journeys alongside children impacted by child trafficking and prevents the trafficking of children.
What excites you the most about the charitable component that you are that you're reintroducing into PCH? And where do you imagine this going years into the future?
Yeah, so I think as PCH continues to evolve, what excites me most is that this isn't just about compliance, it's about building trust with our consumers. When these types of programs are done right, it can create real impact while also strengthening the relationship between the brand and its audience. So I think that combination is really powerful and very exciting for what we're looking to do in the future. And I think part of that is also, expanding on the charities that our donations go towards and benefit. So as the program kind of continuously expands, we're definitely looking forward to branching out in other areas to see if there are other really great causes that we can support with our work.
That's awesome. I can't wait to see what other organizations or causes you choose to support moving forward.
We're very
Um,
excited.
so, a lot of companies want to add charitable components to their consumer facing products or subscription models, sort of like what you all have at PCH, but many worry that it might become too complicated. What advice would you give another in house legal team that wants to support a campaign like this without slowing the business down or dragging the timelines out?
So I think what every in-house lawyer says to their marketing and product team, right? Bring legal in early. Bring legal in early and often. So my advice is kind of just encouraging lawyers to reach out to their marketing and product teams to say, like, listen, we are not an impediment to success or launching the program. We are here to work with you from a business and compliance perspective. The simpler and more transparent the program is, the easier it is to execute and defend. We are not looking to overcomplicate things, but transparency is sort of the name of the game, right? So if we're in early, we can help, design a very compliant program and not have to retrofit it later on.
That makes a lot of sense. I feel like building those relationships also in general within your company can really be beneficial. I'm in marketing, so I know that making sure that what I'm doing is legal approved is a core part of my job too. So, um,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. It's, there's always like this inherent tension. But we're not scary and legal, right? We're trying to save ourselves from having problems later on. So we're,
definitely
we're here to work and, help design compliant programs so we have successful launches.
makes sense.
But I
Well,
also think like knowing what you don't know is also very important as well, right? And so that's sort of why I think going back to this partnership was so beneficial for us in launching and doing so on such an expedited basis. Our timeline was very short. And
mm,
so finding those key players in the field who have the expertise to help facilitate and launch the programs you're looking to do, that's also really, really important. Being able to rely on those partnerships and, help support the compliance program instead of reinventing the wheel.
hmm. Makes a lot of sense. There are more solutions out there than people seem to recognize. Change exists for this exact reason to help companies do exactly what you all needed help with, which is run compliant donation programs. That
Hmm.
intersection can be very daunting to just a marketing team. Like the understanding the legal components for a marketing team can be tricky if they don't have the proper legal support, even, or if their company's so small they don't have a legal team or something like that. So that's also, we exist. It's like we can help walk you through what you need to do, we can help support you along the way, and we can help you actually, as the program is running, maintain the compliance.
It's very interesting to just the landscape of how kind of the commercial co-venture world has changed over the years. I mentioned that PCH has this long-standing history of giving back and without giving legal advice at all, which I'm not here to do. There was a time where free action programs, where there wasn't a purchase component, but a user would take an action on social media, for example, all of that was unregulated because it was just, here's a company that's giving back. That has since changed. And so it's so important for someone like me who doesn't work in the commercial co-venture space every day to have this type of partnership that I can rely on, to get that expertise in the changing regulations on a state by state basis, because things are always changing. And so, a program that we ran 5 years ago, 10 years ago, regulations have changed since then. And so kind of staying apprised of those changes, that's kind of what this partnership, at least for me, is really, really beneficial in doing.
I like what you said about how you aren't necessarily working in the CCV arena every day. And I think that, I'm imagining, will resonate a lot with viewers, because that is often what we see in our customers. It's not like your entire bread and butter business is running CCVs. It's like you have many other components of your business, and as legal you have to address all the components, not just little niche.
Yeah, it's very helpful.
Cool. Well, Erica, this was really great. Thank you so much for sharing your perspective, especially on what it looks like just to be a legal person in this space. Thank you all for watching. If you work at a nonprofit, support nonprofits, or run charitable campaigns at your company, be sure to follow the Give Smart series for more insights on doing good legally.
Thank you for having me, Isabella.